Hey, good evening, friends. Now, friends, today is Monday, January the 12th, 2026, and the time now is 11:56 p.m. So, friends, I want to talk about Gabon, the African country of Gabon, and I want to talk specifically about a situation that happened relating to the AFCON, the African Cup of Nations, and Gabon's performance, and the fact that the government of Gabon suspended Gabon's national team, fired the coaches and some of the staff members, and so on and so on. And I want to pose a question specifically based on the fact that is it enough for a government to dismiss a national team and to fire the coaching staff members? Is that all it takes for a government to ensure that the national team of a country perform according to expectation? Is the government putting in place mechanism that basically develop the talent that this same government is expecting to perform at a high ranking or high level international event? So that is my question that I want to post. Now, friends, this is my first video about Gabon, and it is going to be a very short video, and it has to do with the African Cup of Nations. Now, friends, the African Cup of Nations, which is supposed to be ending this week, is said to be by many one of, if not the best African Cup of Nations so far in its history. Lots of memorable things happened during this African Cup of Nations. Now, friends, as of now, the teams that are left, the final four teams that are still in the African Cup of Nations, are Nigeria, which is going to be playing Morocco, and then Egypt, which is going to be playing Senegal. So this African Cup of Nations final is basically North Africa versus West Africa. It is an African event, and watching the games and watching news of the event, or coming across post on TikTok or post on Instagram or post on YouTube, you could tell that many Africans have been expressing their pride not only of their country's performance but of the fact that this is an African event where we saw Moroccans celebrating Senegalese player and the Senegalese national team. We saw Egyptians celebrating Nigeria, Congolese being celebrated by all of Africa, South Africa celebrating Cameroon, and so on. So this is a Pan-Africanist event. Of the memorable events which happened during this African Cup of Nations, one particular got the world's attention and African attention, or Africa's attention. And this pertains to one man who is a Congolese national. During every game played by the Congolese national team, he stand at attention, basically mimicking the statue of Patrice Lumumba, the Congolese first prime minister and Africa's national or continental hero. Patrice Lumumba will be forever be in the hearts of many. And I believe because of what this man did, even those Africans and people around the world who did not know the history of Patrice Lumumba in Congo, basically I believe they became educated. Patrice Lumumba was assassinated by Belgium, the United States, basically the West, okay, collaborating to kidnap him and arresting him and murdering him, assassinating him. During every match played by the Congolese national team, this man stood at attention, mimicking the statue of Patrice Lumumba with his hands, his right hand up, And it is interesting this man did that for every game the national team of Congo played for 90 minutes. The man will stand there, not saying anything, not moving, for 90 minutes, honoring Patrice Lumumba and honoring the Congolese national team. So hail to this man, hail to Congo, and hail to Africa. Now, Congo recently lost to Algeria. They lost 1-0 to Algeria at the end of the game. Just before the game ended, the Algerian score. But what is very interesting is at the end of the game, one Algerian player mocked the Congolese man who always stand as a statue honoring Patrice Lumumba. This Algerian player did the same thing to mock the man, and he basically lied down on the grass to mimic that he is sleeping, that the man should go to sleep. So, friends, once again, this one Algerian player mocked the Congolese man who always stood as a statue honoring Patrice Lumumba. The Algerian player mocked him, raised his hands, and then fell to the ground on the grass to mimic that he is going to sleep, that the man, the statue, should go to sleep. And Africans throughout the diaspora and Africans all over Africa went off on this Algerian player. Africans point to the fact that this Algerian player, who many are saying did not even do nothing on the pitch, went about mocking Patrice Lumumba, or a man who was paying respect to Patrice Lumumba. And it is very interesting at the end of the game, the Algerian national team or Algeria apologized to Patrice Lumumba, Congo, and to the human statue man. And this is one of the controversies that I believe will stay in the consciousness of many Africans. But this was a very good AFCON or African Cup of Nations. Now, in terms of Gabon, Gabon lost 3 times. Gabon lost all 3 of their group matches. Basically, did not even cross to the next round. And as a result, the Gabon national government fired some staff members, coaching staff members, and suspend the national team. And it is said that some members of the team, I believe, are going to be banned for life, or they will not be playing anytime soon on Gabon's national team. But also, it is said that what Gabon's national government did was an interference, which, according to FIFA rules, governments are not supposed to interfere with the team, especially during a global, okay, international event. Now, I'm not sure how that is going to unfold, okay, in terms of the consequences for Gabon. However, in terms of Gabon doing horrible in the event, losing all 3 of their group matches and not being able to even cross, okay, move on to the next round. Now, it is a very interesting thing. This is not just a Gabon issue, it is the issue for every country around the world. Every country wants to perform better in international event. So Gabon is right to take whatever action it wants to take to make sure its national team perform on the international stage. However, friends, my question is the government of Gabon doing what it's supposed to do? Is the government of Gabon making the necessary investment into sports, recreation, and youth to ensure that Gabon nurture the next round or the next generation of stars who will represent the country in the next or the upcoming international event? It is not enough to fire coaches, to suspend players, or suspend national team. Are you putting in place the mechanism to grow your talent? Are you constructing many public parks, recreation centers? Are you building your internal sporting system, not only for young people to be playing here and there, but to have a good structure where high school are playing high school, middle school or elementary schools are playing elementary school. You have county leagues, you have city leagues, and so on to nurture the talents you will need to build your national talent pool. And also, some of these guys are going to be able to be lucky enough to be bought off, okay, to play on the international stage where they can come back and represent the national team. However, I also want to ask, recently we saw during the same AFCON event, the Nigerian team was protesting that they were not going to be playing their game with Algeria because they did not receive their bonuses. In most cases, or in many cases, African players are leaving their clubs abroad to return home to represent their national teams. They either are not being paid, or they are not being paid enough, or they are not receiving their benefits, their bonuses. Also, when young Africans leave their teams around the world, their professional contract to play for their national team, in many cases, they are not given the right care. And if these guys get hurt, they are done. Their contract abroad is finished. Their livelihood is destroyed. They are not able to play again. Perhaps this is probably one of the reasons why Africans do pretty much bad in terms of World Cup and other international events. Because I believe players are saying we are representing our national team and we are not taken care of. And once we get hurt, that's the end of our career. This is because, friends, we are seeing Africans representing their their teams, their professional teams in other countries, and they are basically going all out. They are playing their hearts out, but they are not doing the same when it comes to their representation of their national team. And this is perhaps the case. I play for my country. Politicians cheat me out of what I deserve. If I get hurt, I get no care. I get nothing to take care of me for life. Meanwhile, I am trying to get multi-million dollar contract, okay, from my team in Europe or in the Americas or whatsoever. So perhaps that could be the case. Now, in terms of AFCON, Nigeria defeated Algeria, and many Africans are happy that Algeria lost. And this is because of what the Algerian player did, mocking the human statue and also mocking Patrice Lumumba, a man who, in Algeria, the capital city of Algeria, it is said that there is a street named after Patrice Lumumba. The fact that you do have streets in Algeria and Algerians do not know the history of Lumumba, and I believe many Africans don't know the history of Lumumba, even Liberians. That's something that Africans need to visit. But in terms of Gabon, it is not enough to fire your national team, to fire your national team coaching staffs, to suspend players. Or you putting the mechanism in place to ensure that you're able to raise the next pool of talents that will represent Gabon on the international stage? And are you putting the mechanism in place to pay them what they deserve, to give them the bonuses that they deserve? Now, friends, please tell me what you think, and I really want to know what you think. However, friends, I'm going to end here. I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice community, my friends, but most especially and most importantly, or most important, my friends, I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace, my friends. Peace.